I left my husband after he attacked our daughter for coming out, and 2 years later my best friend sat me next to him at her wedding hoping we'd get back together. I, 37F, left my husband, Darren, 37M, 2 years ago, when our eldest daughter, now 19, came out and he physically attacked her for it. We have 4 children and I have sole custody over the 3 who are young enough to be covered by custody agreements, which Darren has tried to fight me over for the past 2 years, but when you have a criminal record for beating up one child, the courts are unlikely to give you custody of the others. Darren and I were in the same friendship group since primary school, but my friends told me they had all cut contact with him. I went to my friend, Rachel's, 37F, wedding, this weekend when I spotted him at the ceremony. Because it's a wedding and an important day for my friend, I chose not to acknowledge his existence. It was a big wedding anyway, so I thought I could just avoid him and have a conversation with Rachel about his presence at a later date because she deserved to enjoy her big day. However, when I was looking at the seating plan for the reception, I saw both of our names, one after the other. Rachel had put our group, including Darren, on the same table. My 2 other friends from this group convinced me to take my seat because we hardly get to see each other anymore, promising that they had no idea why Darren was invited and vowing to make him regret being born if any drama started. Darren sat next to me, greeted me with a "hey babe," as if we were still together, and I could not cope with being in his presence. All I could think about was desperately trying to restrain him while my second eldest called the police. I downed my glass of Prosecco and walked to my hotel. Yesterday, I got a message from Rachel saying that her mom asked her to invite Darren and Rachel said yes because her parents were paying for most of the wedding. Rachel's mom is Darren's godmother. I asked her about the seating plan and, again, she said that was her mom's doing because she was adamant that there was a potential for us to get back together. She apologized for not telling me, saying that she thought I wouldn't go if I knew, which is true, I wouldn't have come. I have not replied to that message and I don't plan to. As much as I don't want to give up on an over 3-decade-long friendship, I can't get past this. Relevant comments. Commenter. Also screw any friends who convinced her to stay and actually sit at the table. Why the hell didn't any of them at least offer to swap seats so she didn't have to sit next to the piece of crap that she should probably have a restraining order against? OP, thank you. My eldest has a restraining order, but because his actions were towards her and not myself, I don't really have the evidence to be granted one in the UK. Commenter number 2, I assume, since Rachel is from the friend group, that she knows what he did. I also assume, because you've been friends for 30 years, that she knows your children. If these 2 facts are true, then she needed to protect you. This was unforgivable in my opinion. OP, yeah, my children call her their auntie and she and her husband helped me pack up our lives after what he did. I still can't wrap my head around why she didn't even warn me. OP on her reaction, I was very mindful of the fact that my ex is still trying to drag me through the courts for access to my 3 younger children, and if I reacted how I wanted to, it could be brought up further down the road, otherwise, I wouldn't have been so quiet. Commenter number 3, you're a badass, and I hope to be the type of mom you are. You did the right thing. You respected your friend's wedding. Your friend and her mother disrespected you and your kid. Also, the suggestion you would rekindle something with the asshole who assaulted your kid for coming out makes me seriously concerned about being around these people at all. If your friend was your friend, she would have said no, that isn't gonna happen, he's a piece of crap. End of story. Sorry you had such a crap experience. Sorry your kid's coming out was traumatic, instead of the celebration it should have been. But, you're amazing and I hope you are surrounded by people who see and support how great you are. OP, thank you so much. I can't believe I wasted so much time on this man. I'm just so grateful that my children weren't there. Looking back, I'm thinking that his presence is why they weren't invited. My eldest has a restraining order against him. 7 hours later. Commenter, you might need to warn your oldest of what happened in case your ex-friends try and contact them over you going no contact. OP, we had a conversation with her when I got home and she has blocked Rachel and her husband. Update, the next day, 35 hours later. Thank you to everyone for their support in the comments. Before I get into the update, I noticed a couple of comments pointing out my mistake with sole custody, and I'm just grateful that I have a solicitor for custody stuff because if I make a mistake doesn't come up with a wiggly red line under it, I will not pick up on it. Anyway, I did not reply to Rachel and just blocked her, but her husband called me yesterday. He apologized but then went on about how hard this is for Rachel and how she feels that the day was tainted for her. I told him that how she sees her day is not my responsibility and I ended up blocking him as well. I talked to one of the members of the friend group and he apologized for convincing me to even sit down at the table. He said he thought more about him wanting to have the group back together than how it would affect me. He then told me about how Darren told Rachel's family members who asked where I was that me seeing him reminded him too much about our son who died 2 years ago and I had to leave. He was referring to my daughter, who is a, very much alive, trans woman. Apparently no one in the group attempted to correct him, so I have just removed myself from our group chats and am going to try to make better friends. Also, thank you to the people who wished my daughter well. She wanted me to say that she really appreciates it and she is starting to thrive, despite the mental scarring and tinnitus her sorry excuse for a father gave her. I could not be prouder of how far she has come in her journey and, in September, she will be the first person in my family to go to university. She is taking a page out of the Petty Queen's book and getting her revenge with a life well lived. Relevant comments. Commenter, what do your other kids think why they can't see their dad? OP, my second eldest saw what he did and the younger two saw the state he left their sister in. They were 7, 8 and 11 at the time, so they were old enough to be aware of the situation. They do talk about missing having a dad sometimes, but they don't feel safe around him, and my second eldest is petrified of him. Commenter number 2, that's horrifying. I grew up witnessing violence in my home, and that stays with a person. Have you considered counseling for the family? OP, I'm so sorry you had to go through that. They're all in individual therapy through the NHS and their schools, but I will try to get us a referral for family counseling.